Welcome to tonight's broadcast of Research Today, an inside look at children's social and emotional well-being. Tonight on the program, we have Dr. Mary Ainsworth, an expert in the field and very knowledgeable in the area of positive relationships and how they affect children's social and emotional well-being. Welcome, Dr. Ainsworth. We're so pleased that you're here.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
We can't wait for you to share some of your research and knowledge with us. Let's begin by asking, why are positive adult-child relationships critical to infant-toddler social development?
Well, for infants and toddlers, a positive relationship with one or more adult is essential for their optimum growth and development. There are 5 essential elements that contribute to what makes up a positive relationship, and those things are warmth, acceptance, genuineness, empathy, and respect. These 5 elements are key in helping a child develop secure attachments and build positive relationships.
And what specifically can adults do to enhance their relationships with infants and toddlers?
An adult or caregiver can provide prompt basic care. This will enhance positive social relationships with infants and toddlers. Some ways to provide prompt basic care are to respond promptly to an infant's bid for help. When an infant 6 months or younger cries, pick them up and quickly attend to his or her needs. Next, establish a regular pattern in giving care when responding to infant signals. This means that an adult will develop an individual pattern of picking up, talking, soothing, changing diapers, feeding, or just holding. What works for one baby may not work for another, however. Finally, it's important to handle infants gently but firmly, moving them so they can see your face or other interesting sights. When being held, an infant should be safe and secure, not experiencing falling, being squeezed too tightly, or other kinds of discomfort.
Well, those are excellent tips for us in providing excellent care to our infants and toddlers. Will you please discuss what are some communication strategies for interacting with families of infants and toddlers in our care?
A supporting adult in the family member is important when working in early child care. To improve communication and build relationships with families, it's imperative to listen to what family members tell you about their infant or toddler. It's also important to record pertinent information about the child to share with the family. Allowing parents the opportunity to discuss how they feel about leaving their infant or child in your care, asking questions periodically so that parents will have an opportunity to share concerns or inquire about typical behavior, and demonstrate a general mutual respect for the family's cultures and language by becoming informed.
Well, this sounds like a family-centered approach to caregiving.
Yes, I think childcare today needs to support a family-centered approach in order to really develop a child's social emotional well-being.
That is just said excellently.
Thank you.
Dr. Ainsworth, what are some common pitfalls that we can avoid in building relationships with infants and toddlers?
Well, some pitfalls to avoid include ignoring infant cries. It's important to respond quickly. Also, it's important not to attribute moral characteristics to infants and toddlers. For example, certain infants are much easier to care for, whereas others are more challenging. These children are neither good nor bad. They're just temperament traits. It's also important that you do not assume that non-speakers cannot communicate.
So, infants are communicating with us at all times.
Sure, they have lots of nonverbal cues that they're giving us, and we need to respond quickly.
Now, I find that interesting that you say not to ignore infants' cries.
That's right. As soon as they're crying, an infant they learn how to trust an adult. And if we're not responding and they're crying, then our relationship will be damaged.
Oh, so that advice that we received from our mothers and grandmothers to let them cry it out, it's not valid, huh?
That's right. Research shows that we need to respond and respond promptly in order to build a trusting relationship and secure attachments.
Well, thank you for sharing that bit of critical research with us.
Absolutely.
Dr. Ainsworth, can you please describe and explain what goodness of fit is in terms of building relationships with infants and toddlers?
Sure. Goodness of fit describes the temperament of the adult and that of the child. It's important because both parties of the relationship have characteristic styles of handling behaviors and emotions. The goodness of fit between an infant or a toddler and their caregiver is essential to creating a trusting relationship.
Oh, very interesting. I don't hear that term used very often, goodness of fit, but the way you described it, Dr. Ainsworth, makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have a goodness of fit between a child and their caregiver. We need to know what our buttons are and make sure to pair up children with a caregiver who will take care of them in the best way appropriate.
Okay. Well, I want to move on to another area which seems to be getting a lot of recognition these days, and that is social competence. How does social competence affect children's lives? And can you tell us exactly what is social competence?
Well, social competence includes all the social, emotional, and cognitive knowledge and skills that children need to achieve their goals and be effective in their interactions with others. Social competence plays a very significant role in the lives of children. Research shows us that children who are socially competent are happier children and have more positive experiences. They're more popular, interact more, and have more satisfaction in life.
What types of behaviors do we usually see in children who are socially competent?
When you see a child that's socially competent, you see someone who has personal identity, interpersonal skills, self-regulation, and emotional intelligence.
Those are all very critical skills to help develop in young children. What are the benefits of a child being socially competent? And what are the disadvantages to children who are not skilled in this particular area?
Children who are socially competent are viewed as more responsible, friendly, cooperative, and self-controlled. This benefits them in building relationships with their peers and adults. Children who are not socially competent are viewed as impulsive, oppositional, hostile, and irresponsible. They have a harder time interacting with others.
Oh, I can see that. Dr. Ainsworth, does the child's social environment have anything to do with social competence?
The social environment has a lot to do with social competence. Children form ideas and behaviors from their social environment. Social environment settings include their microsystem. This includes their extended family, immediate family, child care or preschool, Head Start Center, church, community sports programs, doctor's offices, and that's just to name a few.
So it really does take a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
What is the teacher or caregiver's role in fostering social competence in children?
Their role is crucial in developing social competence in children. In our changing society, children spend the largest amount of time away from their parents with teachers and caregivers. This places a huge responsibility on the professional to teach social and emotional skills that children will use when they start school and beyond. Teachers can also serve as the buffer to negate to negative experiences that children encounter in the home environment. Teachers can offer acceptance, love, predictable settings and routines, a sense of safety and security, and foster that attachment that children need to feel safe and secure to explore their world.
So I guess we can say that a lot of this goes back to attachment theories.
Definitely. It's so important for us to foster children's attachment with adults and develop those secure relationships right from birth.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ainsworth. You have shared a wealth of knowledge for us viewers today, and I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and research.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. I had a lot of fun.